Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of Crystalline Podcast, a podcast all about self love, personal growth, and self worth. I'm your host, Summer Clark, and this episode is about ego and intuition. These are really important to not get confused. Sometimes we can be in our ego, and it causes us the most self destructive behavior you could possibly have. So that's always fun, always encouraged. This episode is not scripted. It is like oh, it's like sign off now. Close your apps right now because it's just gonna be a mess. No, it's fine. So I chose to bring this up because it's really important. Like I said, to not get confused between the two. Um, I'm gonna tell you a story of how it really destroyed, for me, like not like a love chance at canoodles, but it destroyed something that was quite important to me. So yeah, it's gonna be a story time. There's gonna be a reading from a book that absolutely, like, last year when I was going through my little midlife, this book really helped me. I think it was one of the last books that I read, so we're gonna read a little bit from that. And it's just gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be quite short. I have no idea how long this podcast is gonna be. I've not scripted. There is no topic sessions. It's as it is. So yeah, story time. So let's start. Let's think. So yeah, last year when I was having like some kind of weird breakdown, and when you feel like you're having a breakdown, it's kind of like a horrible, journey, like on our little yellow brick road, but it's like cracked and there's weeds growing in it, and it's just like the worst thing, but you have to walk across it. It's like the Indiana Jones, like, where he's doing the Jehovah bit, and he's got to walk across that. I can't remember what one it is. The one with Sean Connery in. Bless that man. Or her. I cannot watch First Night because I'm like, I can't remember if he dies or not. And I'm like, I don't want to know. Because he's just perfect. He's perfect. He's just perfect. I might have daddy issues, but he's perfect. So I mean, his character in First Night is perfect to me. So when he Harrison Ford, Indiana's walking. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's on Disney. Go see it right now. Where he's walking along in the he's got to solve the puzzles, and you've got to like step on the right place in life. If not, you'll crumble and fall down, like a massive hole. Anyway, moving on. So ego and intuition, like you this is a really important lesson for me. And it should be for you too. If you ever come across this stage, like this journey, this part in your life, you need to, you know, go across it to find enlightenment. Yeah, well, yeah, you actually do. You have to find, like, it's all part of the journey. You have to, suffer to find happiness and all. No, you have to, yeah, suffer to find that, to awaken, because I thought I was going crazy at the time. I genuinely thought I was going crazy. And I feel and I do believe now that midlife crises are midlife crisis is like a really overthought thing. Like, I really believe it's just overthinking. And like, because I went through it, like, we all are on our different little paths in life. Going on the Jehovah, God step on the right stones, if not you fall to your death. I'm kidding. But we all have to, find our own way. And sometimes we do go down the wrong path, and that's because it's like, oh, that's gonna lead us to the right one. Like, there's a line in a movie, like, to all the boys I've loved before. It's like you have to kiss the wrong guy to find the right guy. Like, you have to sometimes try the wrong things to, find the right things. And that's okay. It happens to all of us. We all have that in our life on different levels. So let's try and keep on track. my brain is the most unreliable thing ever in remembering what I'm talking about. I don't know if you've noticed. But yeah, like our journey, like it's okay. Whatever we're going through, it's fine. So, guys, but yeah, trust that your intuition. So I'm gonna like read a book because when I was going through my midlife crisis, I read so many books. Like I could have them linked below if you guys want. Also, that does remind me that maybe I'll announce this at the end, but I did tell you guys that I got rid of my website and now I've just got a link tree. So that's that for now. But moving on, I got so many books. So the books I got. Okay, so the books I got that helped, they're not in any order that I read them. I think this was actually one of the last books I read that helped me a lot. So and if you guys have listened to my podcast before, you'll know these books. Definitely icky guys in there, but it's like the second from last book, so it's fine. So one of the books that I read was Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. This was just, it was the last book that I read, and this taught me about responsibility and how, like, you know, everything in our lives our responsibility. And that goes beyond like every action we take, we're responsible for it. Like every event that's happened to you, you're responsible for it. So I'm like, what? Because I found that really harsh when I, first um I was like, what? You bitch, how dare you say this to me? I I just didn't get it. But to explain it, like it's your responsibility. And this really hit home when I walked away from that. Uh, it wasn't a toxic job, but it was a job that wasn't supporting me. Like it was a job that was, not barking up the wrong tree, but basically worshipping. I'm gonna say worshipping to be the extreme, but worshipping, the wrong influence. Worshipping. That, they weren't seeing the reality of things. And, it wasn't tragic, but it was, it was like, ugh. So basically, it was management supporting poor management and getting rid of good employees. And I don't want to toot my own horn to say, like, yeah, that's, I'm a good employee. But it was the case of, it was a bully. It was a bully of a manager. And, there wasn't any there wasn't, it was really hard to grasp the reality of things in that situation. But I left. Moral of the story. I left, and I remember feeling like, oh, what did I do? I'm sorry, I'm totally swearing. It's like, what did I do? I remember thinking that. I was like driving, I was like, ah! And, you know, I remember thinking, right, and it's like, no, we're not going to think like this. It's my responsibility to, ensure that I'm safe. I have everything paid for. I have my life the way it is. It's my responsibility to do that. And if I hadn't read this book, I probably wouldn't have had that thought, that mindset. I probably would have been like, ah, and screaming. It's fine. Um, I probably wouldn't have, took the action that I needed to get myself in a safe place, in a safe environment, in my heart, in a safe place. I'm such a weirdo, sorry. um, so this book is really great for, if you're scared to take action in your life, it's really good for that. And this helped me get out of that. So I'll link it down below, guys. But feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah, take that action. Find your responsibility. Find your adult self. I don't even know how to say that. Any better? That was me putting a book on the table. That wasn't me tooting or anything. So there was another book I read. What? So I was freaking out because when you do go through a midlife, you do freak out. Like you do. And for me, like everyone is different, but I try to the way my mind works, which is really great, and it's something I really appreciate about my mind. We should have like these moments of appreciation about ourselves. It's always the little things, guys, isn't it? I'm kidding. So I always try to find the answer. If there's a problem, like I will not give up on it. Um, I will give up on the problem if I really don't see any value in it, and we all should. But if I won't give up on the problem if I do see value in it, and I will find the solution. Because, don't give yourself a, a moment of your time to anything else that won't give you value. Um, just don't. Just don't. It's like have some self-respect, honey. Um, so so if you're new to this podcast, actually, I just want to mention that oh, it's so lame. But it's like a weird Robin Williams voice thing that I do. I don't know if you picked this up, but like me and my sister do this. And it wasn't until I was like editing the podcast, I was like, oh my God, someone's got multiple personalities. Thought of God. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea what that entails. And I'm very sorry if that offended anyone. But no, that is not the case. I'm just like me and my sister do weird accents all the time, especially when we're describing people. It's hilarious. But the second book I read was a CBT, cognitive behavior therapy book by Elaine Foreman and I think Claire Pollard. It's very fancy writing. I can't really read it. Yeah, Claire Pollard. Can't say her name. So Elaine Iljon Foreman. Um, this book was like £3, brand new. I got it and it's annotated to F. um, there's just so much in there. I read it really fast because I was just having this moment where I could only find comfort in books. And I really wish I would get that back again because, yeah, it's nice, but there's only books that really trigger me and help me like that. So that was that one. And then I have like a really cute one. I'll definitely link these up, but it's like Things to Do When You're Feeling Blue by Felicity Hart. This is like a quick, cute reference one. Let's just have a read from it. There's like beautiful little graphics in there. And oh my God, Becca, if you're listening to this, who's gonna come on my podcast, by the way, you should do this. Like, oh, maybe we could work together, Becca. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. Like, um, but what got me this? Yeah, because I did feel lonely at the time because I do live really far away from my family. Um, and the thing that really made me get this was situational loneliness, which is like living away from home, maybe traveling or relocating. Like they have like this little book, so types of loneliness and what they are. And I was like, situational loneliness, like, boom, I closed the book. I was like, I'm taking this. This is mine. Um, but there's so many cute like little graphics in there. And Becca, we are making a book like this. I can't even. It's like, dear self, I love you. It's like, heck yeah, face masks. It's like really cute, like little things in here. I was like, what does my future hold? A hug, ice cream, flowers, a cute dog, sunshine, and a bath. You know it. So this is like a really, and I grab it like when I'm feeling like blue because it's really great for that. And maybe we're gonna get one out in the future from us. That's really cute. So after my like I felt like myself slipping back into like a mindset which was like frazzled, the midlife and like I'm going through all these books, but I will get to the point in a minute. So there's a little book of Zen which I actually got bought for Christmas or my birthday. I got this bought for Christmas by my beautiful wellness friend Jasmine. She, yeah, it's called The Little Book of Zen by Astrid Carvel. Carvel, like Marvel. Um, it's cute. It's cute. It's like to the point. It's like I get like less stress when I read it. It's cute. It's cute. I don't know if I mentioned, but it's cute. And I think one of the first books I read, the very first books I read that brought me back to my childhood, it's basically like my Bible, and actually it's part of a religion, but I don't believe like the Tao Te Ching is like Taoism. I don't know if it's a religion because people are like, oh no, it's a way of life, like hippy dippy. Um, it's the Tao Te Ching. I don't know, but it's old. It is old, and do you know what? Sometimes I just like who does not want to like go and live in a forest with, in a cottage and, I don't know, make their own bread and grow their own flowers, grow their own flowers, grow their own flower and just like live life like that. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I could have like a Marie Antoinette, like, where she wanted to escape the realities of the palace. It's like maybe I should just escape the realities of life and go get a cottage somewhere and just like live um old school like they did back then, where this book was written. Actually, this book was written in the 50s, but the Tao Te Ching was written like ancient times. Um, so that's not factually correct. So the Tao Te Ching. So they Benjamin Hoff in the 50s and I think the 80s or 70s is a two book set. And I actually found, yeah, 70s. How did I guess? So I actually found one from the 70s and I didn't pick it up. It was in a charity shop for 50p and I should have picked it up and I should have gave it to like my aunt or something. Proper vintage. I don't know how much that would sell for anything else, but it's like, do you not realize the gold in this book? The treasures? I'm kidding. But it really took me back to, you know, getting rid of the ego. I really do need to study the Tao Te Ching, like, because I do watch like episodes by, can't say his name because he's German. Sorry, German people. I love you, but like I can't pronounce his name. And I don't know it because it's a big name, but I know it, but I'll link it. Um, so it's a lot of Taoist principles. But it brought me back. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hitting me back to my childhood. Um, and I've read it 50,000 times, but it's one of the first books I read, and there's just so much comfort in these books. I can't even, guys, these are so pretty. And I'm sorry that this isn't being filmed, by the way. I'm still in the process of setting up a studio. I would show you the books. But yeah, still in the process of setting up a studio. I did try to record some. I got pretty for you guys, and then I was like, yeah, why didn't I record? I just like for me, I'm just hating the camera angles right now, and that's really limiting my creativity. Oh my God. So there is a studio being built for you guys. We're just getting the neon light sorted. It's gonna take a minute. Takes forever. We've got a neon light in the hallway. Um it says that you're like really pretty, but that took forever to get made. Very expensive, by the way. Very expensive. So my second book is Ikigai, and I feel like I need to shove this in some of my friends' faces because it's your Ikigai, bro. It's like I need to explain this to my friend. Like I'm gonna come around with the book and be like, so this is freaking Ikigai. So your Ikigai is like what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. Like I could, for example, use this podcast as my Ikigai. And you know what? I'm starting to think that maybe we don't just have one Ikigai. Like I'm gonna do my own research in that because you know, like I feel like I've got maybe two because like I'm looking at this podcast from like a business point of view now, but I'm actually also, looking at a hobby as a business as well. I'm just like, well, maybe the podcast is more like my ikigai because it says like what the world needs, and obviously it needs like a woman in her 30s rambling at you all no reason to try and help you. And maybe it doesn't need my other business. So maybe that just as a side as a side hustle. It's just, a side gig. And that, I love it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't rely. Because if one of those eggs go down, if one of those eggs crack and fall off the ball, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Try to pick it up and put it together again? I'm kidding. So yeah, so what you good at, what you can be paid for, what the world needs. And in between that is like I'll have to link this, like a picture of this, because it's just so it changes your life, it changes your life. So yeah, because it's passion, your mission, and how they all into I'd love to go into some wine. Um, entwine, and become your ikigai. And I need to take this to my friend because my friend is a teacher and she wants to become a vet, and I'm like, bro, step back. I know teaching's hard, but step back and let's find your ikigai. Let's do it. This book is sold in Waterstones. I have seen it in there. And, you know, next time I saw it, it wasn't there. But it is, the self-help personal development section. I'm sure all these books are in there because I actually walked into a library and I was like, I've got that book. And like in the mind, body, spirit section, I was like, I've got the book. I've got that book. I've got that book. I have that book. I was like, I've spent money on these books, so I could have gotten them for free. But no, I really recommend you do buy your own books and get your own bookshelf because you can put so many little post-its in there and annotate them and make them your own. And that's exactly what the first book I mentioned, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, says for you to do. Take the book and, make love to it. No, take the book and find everything you need from it. Find everything you need. So that's another one as well. I love this book. I might read it again. I'm not sure. Um, Another game changer for me was this is the last book, actually. This book, and then I'm gonna give you a reading from the last book. So this book, How to Be Present by Sophie Golding. Thank you. Thank you for this book because it's so cute and so amazing. I'm so happy about this. Big hugs for you. Um, this one changed me. So this was where I was getting caught up in my ego and my intuition. And, it really affected like I was seeing a guy. Well, I wasn't seeing him. Total situationship. Um what an achievement. So my sister got married the other day, but me, I'm right in a situationship. No, yeah. So I really struggled at that time, and so did he. And I believe that maybe, we were in each other's lives to learn from each other. But I felt like, because my needs weren't being met, and because I, my needs weren't being met. Full stop. And because of that, I felt like I was struggling a lot and I felt like I was going crazy. Like I felt, yeah, like I wasn't good enough, like I was going crazy, like, and because I mentioned that I'm very much like, like fix the problem if you can, if not let it go. And this is a situation where I should have let this go. And I was so caught up in, I was so caught up in it that, my ego was talking the most part of it, and it was driving me crazy. And I was like, and because actually from actions in the past, um, from what he quotation fingers, what he did, I was still scarred from it. So it affected how I felt then, and I wouldn't let it go. Because, and so then my ego was feeding off that idea, and it made me incredibly insecure. It made me feel like I was going crazy. It was just not the best feeling in the world. Like, no, I wouldn't say, woohoo, let's go for it. No, it was so bad. But, from all these books I was reading and all these like principles I was following, ego is so destructive. It is, I feel like it's the most destructive thing. Like, it stops people from learning. Like, I think Plato said, it stops people from helping themselves. He didn't say that, I said that. Plato said, when you think you know, you won't learn. But if you're open to learning, I think it was him. I'll have to find it. Wrote it down below. Yeah, if you think you know, you won't learn. But if you're open to learning, like basically act like if you're the most stupid person in the room. That's how you should feel, especially when going to like events, networking events, you know, dating, I don't know. But act like you're the dumbest person in the room because you're more willing to learn. But if you act smart and you feel like you know it, then you're not going to learn anything. And I actually fell victim to this morning. I was like, I can't remember. I remember like looking at my email accounts, and I was like, oh, I don't need to know that because I already know that. And I was like, no, Summer, you need to. That voice in my head, I was like, no, Summer, don't think like that, because you're not going to learn. You're going to miss out on an opportunity. So that's like your ego feeding. If you guys want to really learn about ego, I recommend Eckhart Tolle or Eckhart Tolle. I almost saw that man when he came down to London. My aunt was gonna, I didn't know he was in London, and my aunt was like so sick, but she told me, like after, she was like, I was gonna pay for you to come with me. We were going to go to London and go see Eckhart Tolle, and I was like, no, sharp. I was gonna be so. But anyway, oh, I'd love that. Never mind. Maybe another time. But how to be present really, yeah, it helped. I think it was the tip of the iceberg before I fell over and like into a new beautiful life. But yeah, no, I was still struggling at this time. It was a lot of complication. I wasn't letting things go as I should have. Um, and it's really hard to do. Like if you're in that situation, if you ever find yourself in a situation, I say walk through it because you're just gonna have to feel it at that moment and just walk through it. Don't get stuck in the mud. Like don't get stuck in quicksand. Just keep moving forward through it because it's like a part of life and like learning. Don't ever don't ever worry about it, okay, guys? So this book, How to Be Present. Here we are. It's a cute one. Becca, we're gonna bloody get this done. Chinese proverb. It's like tension is who you think you are. No, sorry. Tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. God, again. And I believe that actually, again, that's to do with the ego. Being someone like who you think you are, that's a fabrication of your ego. Let it go. And I know it's hard, but just do it. Just do it. I'm just gonna have a look through this book, see if there's any like tabs, because this is probably the least tabbed book ever. It's like 5 tabs in it. I think it's mostly because it's all design. So get out of your head. Yes. So living in the moment requires you to be in the moment, to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you. And this doesn't have to leave a lot of time for negative self-talk and self-consciousness. Yeah. So live in the moment, and that's what meditation does. It takes your, well, actually, no. um, it take, sorry, let's start that again. It's not meditation, because meditation is acknowledging the thoughts that they exist, but not letting, don't become attached to them. What I'm talking about is another Eckhart Tolle thing, where he talks about being present. Being present. And this is mindfulness, but he doesn't like to call it mindfulness. He likes to call it consciousness, I think, because he doesn't like the idea of the mind being full. So, yeah. So if you ever find yourself overthinking, you do overthink. Just calm your mind down by telling yourself, it's like, okay, 5 things I see, or 3 things I see, 3 things I hear, you know, something I smell, I don't know. Um, 5 things I touch, what can I feel? You know, think of it like that. Just distract yourself from the thoughts you're overthinking. You need to break that pattern. Break it. Break it in half with a samurai sword, with a katana. So to live in the present, you have to get out of the world and allow yourself to experience the moment as it is, without any judgment. Which I just said, kind of, I guess. So if you feel negative thoughts getting in the way, replace them with the mantra, breathing exercises. This does take a practice to be aware of your thoughts and stop them from happening. It does take practice. It's a habit you have to build, but build it into a strong one, because it's so easy to get caught up. And I know it's like part of our instincts of survival. Getting caught up in negative thoughts is obviously destructive, but it's, yeah, like I said, it's a habit you can break out of. Yeah, sorry, cycle. Getting caught up in negative thoughts is part of our survival instinct. Like, it goes back to when we were hunting for, I don't believe woolly mammoths were around when cavemen were around. I'm not sure, it might be a misconception. It might be dinosaurs I'm thinking about, but it goes back to when we had to survive for a living. And now I mean, some, like where we had to hunt our food kind of time, kind of vibes, kind of that era where we used to hunt our food. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it, sorry, I was getting so confused in my brain. Because we still have that in our brain. That's like, I can't remember what they call it. I'm gonna call it caveman brain, because, or cave person brain. But we still have that. And that is transformed into anxiety that we experience in every single bloody day life. Great, isn't it? So yeah, we can get caught up in that. It's part of our survival instinct. So we all have it, and we all have intrusive thoughts. Your job is to develop the habit of stopping that from happening. It's your habit. Your habit. Yes, make it into your habit. To stop that. Notice these thoughts. Be aware. Be conscious of these thoughts. Say like, oh, that book is gonna hit me in the head. Be like, that's a thought you could have, and be like, no, I'm going to brush. I can't even. Okay, so let's think of a thought. So I'm trying to think of something that happened to me. There's probably so many things. Okay, so I'm gonna do this by an example. So I was on like a quite important phone call. It's very professional people, and I totally thought this. I freaked out, because after it's done, I handled it well. I was like, yes, I'm so pro at this. And then at the end, because I had an email up, and I read the email saying of my dietary requirements to go to an event, And lol, I I said, I was like, and she was like, yeah, okay, and we're about to say bye, and I was like, oh, because this is so boring, and I was like, oh, so I noticed here, like, can I just mention that, you know, I'm a vegetarian, because obviously Taoist. Um, yeah, so I said, can I just mention I'm a vegetarian? There was like a moment of pause where it was like, did I like insult her? It was kind of like that. I was like, and then I like did the washing up, like the dishes, and I was like really overthinking that. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I said that. What really going on? Um, because it was just that moment of pause where like, you know, I was like, was that her job? You know, did I overcross that? Was that really unprofessional? Should I have just emailed, you know, because she was going to talk to this person anyway. So I was like, oh, can you just like mention I'm a vegetarian? And yeah, that didn't go well. I felt so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. Um, I didn't even know what to say, but because I was thinking these thoughts, thinking, oh my god, that was unprofessional, you know, I genuinely, yeah, it was the end of the world, really, right there at that moment. Um, it's the pause. But, you know, she could have just been writing down, like, you know, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that situation and I'm going to change it into a positive one and tell myself that actually she was just writing down my dietary requirements and she was happy. Or maybe she was just smiling or thinking of her own thing, being like, oh, wow, what another amazing person in the world being a vegetarian and not supporting the slaughter of animals. I respect her. Maybe she was thinking that. I don't know. But this is the point. You can actually change what you think. You can make your world into like rainbows and unicorns if you want. You don't have to believe, you know, in the negative. And I recently had someone in my life that told me this and was so condescending and belittling, basically telling me that, you know, my world was it's like the world's not always like unicorns and rainbows. And I'm like, actually, that's where you're a dumb, a dumb C word. That's where you're really not, you know, woke, mother. No, I'm kidding. That's where you really don't understand. That's where you are, you know, your timeline of evolution has stopped with you. You're not going to develop yourself. You're there. And you're trying to make me feel bad because you can't understand that the world is what you make of it. It's like how you create it. You create it with your thoughts. And I know that sounds like hippy dippy stuff, but that really is in your subconscious. And I'm pretty sure there's evidence of this. People do go on about this. I don't believe it's like a pseudoscience thing. It's your subconscious. And this was even thought back to with Lisa Bennett, Eliza Bennett, I think that's her name, where she wrote a book, How to Get Whatever You Want. You know, it really is like it's up to you what you think and what you don't think. And don't let anyone tell you different. That's where you've got to have strength in your thoughts and what you think, and you punch them in the tit because you don't need those people in your life. And that's exactly what I did. I was like slamming this door. No, thank you. So yeah, so that's that book, How to Be Present. It's a really great book, really beautiful design. Well done, my dear. Well done, dear. Um, so my dear, look at me, old, lol. I think I am one of those people in their 30s that are skipped, you know, the 20 years or 30 and straight into knitting. I mean, that's mindfulness. You don't understand. I got laughed at, you know, a couple of months ago because I was knitting socks for my golf clubs and I was getting laughed at. And I just didn't understand why my sister and her fiance at the time, her husband now, were laughing at me. And I'm like, well, you know, you deal with your mental health problems. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It's quite offensive. Um, but I do believe that mindfulness, does help. And that's kind of like an inside thing because my sister, she does have mental health problems. Bless her heart. And she's open about it, and she's open about talking about it. And she's not, keeping herself in a box or a cupboard about it. She's, awareness and does spread awareness of it. So that's absolutely fine. It's, I'm not here to offend people. Um, and you know what? If you do have a mental illness, amazing. Look at you. You're here right now. You're being brilliant. You're amazing. Well done to you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a hug. Do it. So this brings me to the last book. We're nearly done, guys. So Trust the Universe by Stephanie Keith. I love it. Great author. She also does have a podcast. Um, her strength lies in her books. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, this is like really this book. Amazing. Like amazing. So trust the universe, powerful methods for positive manifestation and raising your vibration. Beautiful designs. I love them. Perfect. But this really was the eye opener for me with the ego versus intuition. This one was, do you know what? Trust your instincts all the time. I'm gonna read not too much, but there is a part in here where she, I think she's a lawyer. She's something. She went to big ick, guys. So she worked with a company and she went to this guy's business, like his bar, and he'd locked her. I think he'd locked her in. Like big ick guy, like just come into my house, lock the door. It's like uh no. I think that happened to my friend once. She was seeing this guy and like dating him. And yeah, they were in his room and he locked the door. No. Ugh. No, thank you. But it's basically like her intuition told her that, you know, she was in danger. And it's really weird how your intuition can work as well, because also another story time. The other day, so with my small business, I needed some things, and it was so funny because I was in a charity shop. I saw some. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I'll take a couple of those. And then a couple of days later, I was like, oh, maybe I should have got the whole box or like a few more. I was like, okay, because I want to get some more of these and put them on Etsy and la da da. And it's so weird because I remember it was like a Saturday and I was like, the lion on a Saturday and Saturday morning. And I was like, oh, I should probably move. Yeah, I should probably go. And I was like, nah. And it was like my head, I was like, nah, now's the time to go. Okay. So I went to drop off a book to the library, and this charity shop is opposite the library, and I was like, oh, it's open, because I read on Google it wasn't. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, let's go have a look. I'd actually crossed the road to go to the library, and then I was like, oh, I have to cross the road back again, like awkward. And as I did it, as I was walking to the shop, the woman who worked in the shop, she picked, she had the box. She had the box of things that I wanted. She put them on the floor, and on it said £1 the lot. And I was like, bro. And like I couldn't believe it. I was so in shock. And one of the women said, because I was like, oh my goodness. £1 is like, I think it's more than $1. I think, I don't know, you guys read this. I was so happy. And the woman said, she said, I always say, she was like, I always say she's proper old, better. She said, let's think, what did she say? You're always meant to have, you're always meant to get what you have in life. what you're meant to have in life. You always get what you're meant to have in life. She said, I always believe that. It's just, I thought, oh, that's so funny. But it's a very positive thing. Um, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're always meant to have, what you're meant to have in life. And for that, you shouldn't worry. You shouldn't worry about a thing in your life. You should just go like the river flows, because everything you're meant to have will be yours. Okay, so let's read this. That was my little story. It's such a big deal. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's such a big deal to me because obviously I'm starting a small business. And to even have like loads of these things like reduced to £1 was just like, yes, it's like less of a spend. Woo. Because they were like 50p each, and I would have to gave the woman like a tenner. God, pounds better. So yeah, so I'm just gonna read a little bit from intuition versus ego. So your intuition is your inner knowing, like like your intuition. Trust your intuition all the time. I do this when I'm driving. Like I'm like, should I go down that route or that route? Trust your intuition. Let your conscience be your guide. Um, so you can't explain it, and it may not seem logical, but you have a strong feeling about something. Again, yeah, something excites you and lights you up, even if it seems absurd to other people. Doubt, doubt and limiting beliefs are the opposite. You feel uncertain. Oh. The ego will try to find the logic. So if you find yourself questioning your intuition, know that this is your ego working really hard to keep the status quo. It is using your past experiences to create a possible scenario. The intuition can see far past your limited experience. It sees all possibilities and will guide you towards the best possible outcome. So there you have it. As your ego versus intuition. That is in the book Trust the Universe. Trust the Universe, not Universe, by Stephanie Keith. Great book. I absolutely love that. So yeah, I think that's it for this episode of the Crystalline Podcast, guys. So trust yourself. Like, figure out what is your ego versus your intuition, because your ego is so destructive. It will create, like it said, it creates scenarios which aren't real, that aren't realistic. It happened with that guy, and I really regret it because it's just so unnecessary. Because I was like, he was ill, and I was like, oh my god, he's not talking to me. He must be talking to someone else. Like, why did I turn into a fucking 1950s, 20s narrator? Lol. So I was like, that's what I was thinking. That's my ego voice. Like a is it 20s, 50s narrator? That's my ego voice. That's kidding. That was crazy. So funny. Um, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. That in fact, that wasn't reality, but the trust had already gone, and it was suffering basically. It wasn't good. The ego is not good. Your intuition, what's really going on. I was having like a battle between, my ego and my intuition, because it's like I knew, like, he's just ill. Like there was a voice that was just like, he's just ill. He wants to, isolate himself. It's what cats do, crying out loud. Um, that's what it is. And my ego was like, no, he's done with me. He's bored with me. He's talking to someone else. He's, ugh. But I actually recently got ill. We did stop talking for a while after that. But I recently got ill. I got ill after that, and I had a migraine. I was like, I don't want to talk to anyone. So it was like, yeah, no, I get it. Oh, bless his heart. He's such a good little. I just want to cuddle him. He's so cute. But yeah, it's so destructive. Don't let your ego, you know, destroy any potential that you have. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition, let your conscience be your guide. Come on, we've all seen that. We all know what that's of. So yeah, so I really hope you got everything that you need. These books will be linked down below. Like, I'm not affiliate of any of it, so if you want to buy these, it's like your choice. You can buy them off anything that you want. So I really hope you guys got some from this, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next week. Again, if you there's going to be a poll, especially on Spotify, if you want to join, a class or workshop, please sign up to my newsletter and I'll post, when I'm going to be doing these classes and exclusively on the newsletter. Like, you won't hear it from the podcast. You won't hear the podcast and what one I'm doing, and then you have a choice of what you want to do. Yeah, so it's going to be like a class, like a Zoom call basically. Like, don't worry about, like, I'm gonna decide, just like, is it going to be a Zoom call with like everyone involved, or is it going to be like just me talking to you guys? um so still deciding on that, but guys, choose, like, answer the question. It's like, answer the question. Did you like this episode? Did you not? So I'm gonna see, which one does it. Sign up to the newsletter if you want to stay in touch about those classes to get in more depth, because I will be going into more depth about everything, because it's a class, so I don't want to rip people off. God, no. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. Definitely see you guys next week. I don't know when the studio is gonna. I really can't film anything because I hate the angles. Basically, I just like look at every imperfection on my skin and I'm like, this is too zoomed in. We need to zoom out. We need to go get a studio. We can't do this anymore. So yeah. So I really hope you guys learned something from this, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Summer Clark, and this is the Crystalline Podcast. Thank you so much.